Welcome back to the channel. It's Formula Park One. We showcase amateur athletes and amateur news every day. If you're a player or coach would like an interview, DM me for a collaboration. And if you're loving this content, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Let's talk about some baseball today and the action that happened on Sunday, May the 31st, 2026. The first game we're going to talk about is Oklahoma versus Citadel. And Oklahoma comes in this matchup with a record of 34-22 and a conference record of 14-16. As Citadel comes in the matchup with a record of 36-26 and an overall record of 11-10. And Oklahoma came out with the victory, scoring 15 runs over 14 hits and one error, and Citadel scored 5 runs over 7 hits and no error. And the winning pitcher is Nick Wiskowski, who has a record of 1-1, pitched 7 strong innings, committed 3 errors, and had 4 strikeouts. And Brendan Brock, who went for 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and no touchdowns. No home runs, I'm sorry. And for Citadel, their DH Michael Gibson went for 2 for 4 from the field. The next matchup we got is Arkansas versus Northwestern. And Arkansas comes in this matchup with a record of 41-21 and a conference record of 17-13. And Northwestern comes in with a record of 39-22 and an overall record of 22-8. And Arkansas edged out the victory, scoring 10 runs off of 11 hits, 2 errors, while Northwestern scored 9 runs off of 14 hits and 1 error. And for Arkansas, the winning pitcher is still Eves, who has a record of 7-1, pitched 3 strong innings, had 5 errors and 3 strikeouts, and second baseman Nolan Susie went for 3 for 5 for 5 RBIs and 1 home run. And for Northwestern, first baseman AJ Ashestino went for 3 for 3 for 2 RBIs and 1 home run. The next matchup we got is number 16 ranked for West Virginia versus Kentucky. And West Virginia comes in this matchup with a record of 42-15 and a conference record of 21-9. And Kentucky comes in this game with a record of 33-22 and a conference record of 13-17. And West Virginia edged out the victory, scoring 11 runs off of 10 hits, 3 errors, while Kentucky scored 9 runs off of 13 hits and 1 error. And for West Virginia, the winning pitcher is Ben McDougal, who has a record of 1-0, pitched 5 strong innings, 2 errors, and 6 Ks. And right fielder Armani Guyman, who went for 2 for 4 for 2 RBIs. And Kentucky had a solid game from the center fielder Jace Tarnish, who went 3 for 5 from the field, 1 RBI and 1 home run. The next matchup we got is Florida versus Troy. And Florida comes in this matchup with a record of 41-20 and a conference record of 18-12. And Troy comes in this matchup with a record of 35-30 and a conference record of 17-13. And Troy came out with the upset victory, scoring 16 runs off of 17 hits, 1 error, while Florida scored 11 runs off of 10 hits and no error. And the winning pitcher for Troy is Cooper Willingworth, who has a record of 2-4, pitched 6 strong innings, had 5 errors and 5 Ks, and shortstop Aaron Pozeski went for 4 for 5 for 1 RBI. The next matchup we got is Liberty versus Georgia. And Liberty comes in this matchup with a record of 43-21 and a conference record of 21-9. And Georgia, ranked number 3, has a record of 49-12 and a conference record of 23-7. And Georgia came out with the victory, scoring 6 runs off of 7 hits, no errors, while Liberty scored 1 run over 7 hits and no errors. And for Georgia, the winning pitcher is Okoye Caden, who has a record of 9-1, pitched 6 strong innings, 1 error, and had 11 strikeouts. And catcher Daniel Jackson went for 2 for 4. And for Liberty, their DH Riley Kanadi went for 3 from 4 from the field. The next matchup we got is UCF versus number 4 ranked Auburn. And UCF comes in this matchup with a record of 32-23 and a conference record of 19-11. And number 4 Auburn comes in with a record of 40-20 and a conference record of 17-13. And Auburn came out with the victory, scoring 9 runs off of 10 hits, 1 error, while UCF scored 3 runs, 6 hits, and no error. And for Auburn, the winning pitcher is Alec Pudrovic, who has a record of 10-2, pitched 6 strong innings, had 2 errors and 6 Ks, while right fielder Mason McCrane went for 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, 1 home run. And for UCF, in a losing effort, center fielder Rice Dominguez went for 2 for 4, 2 RBIs, and 1 home run. Next matchup is number 6 ranked Texas versus UC Santa Barbara. And Texas comes in this matchup with a record of 43-13 and a conference record of 16-10. And UC Santa Barbara has a record of 40-20 and a conference record of 22-8. And Texas came out with the victory, scoring 6 runs off of 11 hits, 2 errors, while UC Santa Barbara scored 4 runs over 9 hits and 1 error. And for Texas, the winning pitcher is Thomas Burns, who has a record of 1-0, pitched 1.2 innings, no errors and 3 Ks, and right fielder Aiton Robbins went for 2 for 5 for 2 RBIs, 1 home run. And in a losing effort, Santa Barbara, Kelly Rowan went for 2 for 3 for 1 RBI and 1 home run. The next matchup is number 15 ranked Kansas versus Arkansas. And Kansas comes in this matchup with a record of 45-16 and a conference record of 22-8. As Arkansas comes in this matchup with a record of 41-22 and a conference record of 17-13. And Kansas came out with the victory, scoring 13 runs over 14 hits, no errors, while Arkansas scored 10 runs over 13 hits and 2 errors. And for Kansas, the winning pitcher is Manning West, who has a record of 14-0, pitched 3 strong innings, 1 error and 1 strikeout. And second baseman Darrell Ozoro went for 4 for 5, 1 RBI and 1 home run. And for Arkansas, in a losing effort, center fielder Newt Maliki went for 4 for 4, 2 RBIs, and 1 home run. The next matchup we got is Georgia Tech versus Oklahoma. And Georgia Tech has a number 2 ranking. And boy, it was an upset as Oklahoma pulled off an upset victory, scoring 15 runs off of 18 hits, 3 errors, while Georgia scored 8 runs over 8 hits and no errors. And the winning pitcher for Oklahoma was Govan Jones, who has a record of 1-0, pitched 2 strong innings, no errors and 3 Ks, and center fielder Jason Walk went for 3 for 6 for 3 RBIs. And in a losing effort, Georgia Tech Drew Barnes went for 3 for 5 for 2 RBIs and 1 home run. The next matchup we got is Mississippi State versus ULL. And Mississippi State comes in this matchup with a record of 43-17 and a conference record of 16-14. And University of Lafayette has a record of 41-25 and a conference record of 16-4. And Mississippi State brought out the bats, scoring 19 runs off of 20 hits, 1 error, while Lafayette scored 5 runs for 13 hits and no error. And for Mississippi State, the winning pitcher was Ryan McPherson, who has a record of 4-1, pitched 5 strong innings, had 2 errors and 7 Ks, and second baseman Greg Fright went for 4 for 5 for 2 RBIs and 1 home run. And for Lafayette, second baseman Drew Markle went for 3 for 5 from the field. The next matchup we got is number 7 ranked Alabama versus Oklahoma State. And Alabama comes in this matchup with a record of 4-14 and a conference record of 18-12. And Oklahoma State has an overall record of 39-22 and a conference record of 18-12. And Alabama edged out the victory, scoring 9 runs over 13 hits, 1 error, while Oklahoma State scored 7 runs for 14 hits and 2 errors. And Alabama came out the victory, and the winning pitcher was Hakeem Binks, who has a record of 2-0, pitched 3 strong innings, 1 error and 6 Ks, and left fielder Eric Hines went for 3 for 5 with 1 RBI and 1 home run. And in a losing effort, Oklahoma State center fielder Colleen Ritchie went for 3 for 6, 1 RBI and 1 home run. The next matchup is Arizona State versus Ole Miss. And Arizona State in this matchup comes in with a record of 39-21 and a conference record of 22-12, while Ole Miss has an overall record of 39-21 and a conference record of 15-15. And for Ole Miss, they came out with the victory, scoring 5 runs off of 7 hits, 1 error, while Arizona State scored 4 runs for 7 hits and no errors. Winning pitcher J.P. Robertson has a record of 4-1, 2 innings pitched, 2 Ks, and D.H. Brayton Rondell went for 2 for 1 RBI in Arizona State in a losing effort. Right fielder Tuogo went for 2 for 5 for 3 RBIs and 1 home run. The next matchup is Texas A&M versus South Coastal and South Carolina. South Coastal Carolina. And South Coastal Carolina came out with the upset victory, scoring 14 runs off of 17 hits, 1 error, while Texas A&M scored 3 runs off of 9 hits and 1 error. Or this was USC. It was USC, not South Coastal. And USC winning pitcher was Andrew Johnson, who has a record of 8-2, pitched 7.1 innings, had 3 Ks, and D.H. A's Lopez went for 3 for 4 for 2 RBIs, 1 home run. And in a losing effort, Texas A&M first baseman Gavin Groch went for 2 for 4 with 1 RBI and 1 home run. And the last game on the ticket on yesterday was Auburn versus Milwaukee. And Auburn has an overall record of 41-20 and a conference record of 17-13. And Milwaukee has an overall record of 24-32 and a conference record of 14-10. And Auburn came out with the victory, scoring 8 runs off of 5 hits, and Milwaukee scored 1 run over 4 hits. For Auburn, the winning pitcher was L.J. Cromer, who has a record of 2-0, pitched 5 strong innings, no errors and 8 Ks, and Chase Fratbeck, who went for 2 for 4, 3 RBIs and 1 home run. In a losing effort, Milwaukee center fielder Dylan O'Connell went for 1 for 4 from the field. For all your amateur news and your baseball content, as we get you ready for the road to Omaha, subscribe to Formula Park 1 on YouTube. Thank you for your support.